my name is Marley Fultz. I'm 20 years old and I'm a graduate of Teen Challenge Women's Ministries. I was born into the addiction atmosphere. Both my parents were drug addicts, so by the time I was 4 years old, I was taken in by my aunt and uncle as they adopted me as their own. They gave me a childhood that I never had and a life that I never knew. Even though I had them as my parents, I still loved my real mother more than anything, and I would go with her for a week or two at a time and spend time with her as my mother, and I loved her so dearly. She had married this guy, and I felt really uncomfortable around him, and whenever I was 7 years old, he ended up sexually abusing me. Whenever she found out, she told my aunt and uncle, and they would not let me go with her until she got rid of him. So I waited for the day till she came back and got me, and she did, and I was so excited and happy to go with her. So I went with her, and I went to her house, walked in the door, and he was there. And that day, both my own mother and her boyfriend sexually molested me at 8 years old. This left me very wounded with deep pain in my heart, and I began to think there was something wrong with who I was. So my whole life, as I was very collegiate and successful in all that I did, I hid who I really was. By the time I was 14, I tried my first pain pill, and it took me down a path that I will never ever forget. By the time I was 17 years old, I'd moved out of my aunt and uncle's house and was riding around with one of the guys that I grew up with. And what seemed to be like any other faded Friday night ended up in him overdosing in the car with me and dying. I was so messed up that I didn't even know that he had died. My whole life flashed before my eyes as investigators told my grandparents that I was looking at no less than 8 years in federal prison for involuntary manslaughter just because it was my car. Even though the charges were not pressed on me, this wasn't a wake-up call. I moved away, I got a job at a factory, I met this guy, and I fell completely in love with him. He introduced me to IV use, and before I knew it, I was a full-blown IV addict. I lost everything I had, my health, my car, my home, everything that I owned, I lost it. But this was God stripping me of what I had. Through a series of events, my parents had came to me with Teen Challenge. They had seen a fundraiser outside of a store near our home and said that I needed 13 months to heal. So I decided to go to Teen Challenge, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't desperate yet. So I stayed one day, and the next morning I was back out on the streets. I made it home that night, and the next day I ended up getting in a fist fight with my aunt, and I was thrown in jail, pressed with a felony charge from the year before as well. There is where I cried out to God for the first time that I had in years, and He inclined His ear to me and heard my cry. He lifted me up out of that pit, and 2 weeks later I was court-ordered back to Teen Challenge. I knew what I was going into, so I came in with an open heart and an open mind, and Jesus has established my ways, and He has put a new song in my mouth so others will hear and trust in Him. My life has been completely transformed. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says that if any man be in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things are passed away and all things become new. And I'm a new person. I don't even know who that girl is anymore. And I just want to thank, first of all, Jesus for transforming me. And second of all, Teen Challenge for being there to give me the help that I needed. Thank you.